lovely human being. We're excited to welcome her onto the stage. She plays a mother on the show, which is significant because of the song that we chose, which is why I said that. Please welcome to the stage Samantha Smith. Shot in the head. We figured it made a lot of sense.
Super appropriate. Said without irony. Thank you guys. Who do you think this is for? How's everybody? Do you think I can stay like this for the whole time?
No. Don't do that to your knees.
Yeah. I love that everyone thinks I'm that tall, though. Thank you. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Now what?
We rehearsed this vaccine. It's a bit.
I'm just not allowed to stand up again. Thank you. No, I'll break it. Thank you. I'm not allowed to, no touching. Hi, Vegas! Is it morning? What time is it? What day is it? We'll start there. And what month? January, okay. We're up to speed. Thank you. Hi everyone, so happy to be here. Okay, just because, whose first con is this? I say that like I can see. All right, good healthy percentage. Welcome, welcome. How many of you have started watching the show in the last 2 years? A few. Okay, the last con I was at, it was half. We had a lot of COVID converts. We're like, what not responsible for anything I say or do. I'm excited for you. There's a lot going on this weekend. I'm excited. I get to do the painting tonight. Is anyone coming to that? Can anyone here actually paint? Yeah? Awesome. I can paint the shit out of a wall or a door frame. Not so much with anything that needs to be recognizable.
This is your instructor right here.
Oh, bless you. I will be in the extra help section. I will also be taking charge of the wine drinking section. That's right. Listen, we all have to know what we're good at. Step one. Anybody see this? This is the Scorpio constellation, and my good friend Jody made this and gave this to me today. I know. I think that she's selling all the constellations. Yeah. Does it sparkle plenty? Yes. I hate sparkling. Okay, so let's see. Does anyone have any questions? It looks like there's a...
I have a question.
Stephanie has a question.
I have a question. So you know, those of you who's been to our karaoke nights where Sam Smith has been one of our hosts? Okay, so you know that at some point Sam Smith gets on the drums. I'm gonna go here. Sam Smith will get on the drums and play a song at some point. And by playing a song, can I say?
Yes.
By playing a song, it sounds like she's hitting the drums perfectly. You know why? Because she's not actually hitting the drums. That being said, I decided, you know what, it's a new year, let's challenge Sam. And I asked her for a list, this actually came up last night at dinner. I asked her for a list of songs, like, hey, would you ever want to play a song for real? You know, 'cause she's got the rhythm, she's got it down. So she sends me this list. She's like, oh, yeah, but maybe that, here you go, here's my list. A couple of them are actually really good karaoke songs. That being said, Sam, my question then is, if we picked a song, if you could pick any song, I think the two that mentioned earlier were perfect.
Yes.
And then we asked the fans to sign up for that song, and then we randomly pick a name at the karaoke party. Would you play the drums while that person sang?
I sure would. Honestly, most of the time I refrain from hitting the drums, not so much because it would be wrong, but because I didn't want to scare somebody when I was behind them. They're like, I hit the cymbal and they're like, drop the mic. So as long as you're prepared. And also, if you please know the song, it'll be more fun for you if you
Totally.
do.
All right. Well, we'll get to work
I
on that.
think-
We'll maybe we'll do a poll on which song.
Yeah, that would be
one of the
good.
two, maybe, or do you want to choose?
I don't have the name. I don't know which two. I can't remember.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
It was "Bring Me to Life."
Bring Me to Life by Evanescence.
Evanescence, and it was the Killer song.
The Killers.
told me.
Somebody told me.
Yeah. So should we do a poll maybe on the
Sure.
app, you guys? Okay, we'll do a poll, and then tomorrow karaoke signups. We'll have a separate bag for that particular song. All right. Yeah, we'll do the poll tomorrow. Well, we can
Whole lot of love.
think about it. We'll do the poll tomorrow. I don't know. All right, how about this?
Neil Peart.
Old school style. Who would rather do Evanescence? Bring Me to Life. Who would rather do Somebody Told Me by the Killers? I feel like this is your audience, and since it's coming up now, I think we can skip the poll and we'll do Somebody Told Me. All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you,
Sam Smith.
Stephanie.
Play some Rush.
Thank you, Steph. Killers. They're singing about killing. We're killing. I'm sensing a theme. We'll all hold our machetes. Fake ones. Fake ones. You know, Mary had her own machete. And all of her own other stuff, including like an electric blue vehicle that was not very stealth. But it did go fast. So I had my machete that I used for the first time in an episode called The Raid. And I was being like the general of the British Men of Letters. And feel however you want about that. But we captured a vampire and we were questioning him. And I was standing next to him, and apparently at some point I had had enough and chopped off his head. So at which point I then went and put the machete down, and they were resetting up the scene. And my son Sam, who cannot not fidget with things that are on the table, was playing with all the stuff on the table and picked up my machete by the blade. Now they're all real weapons, but all the guns don't have any bullets in them, obviously. Not even blanks, nothing. Unless they tell us and we're all prepared. The knives and the machetes are all real, but they've had all the blades ground down so that they're dull and nobody accidentally chops off a limb. Apparently they had missed a spot. And he picks it up and he goes, ah! And like, shh, shh, shh. Half-hour delay while we're trying to wrap up his finger. I think they glued it shut. I don't know exactly. But then he knew not to touch Mom's stuff. Lesson learned for at least like the next 2 episodes. And then they had to wreck my machete and dull the whole thing down. See, children ruin everything. Okay, watch. See, I touched the microphone. Look what happens. I broke it. Hold on.
Is that where Jared gets it?
Nobody sneeze. All right, do I have a question over there?
Hi Sam, how are you?
Hi, what's your name?
Well, first I want to say I'm super excited for karaoke tomorrow.
Woo!
Yay!
Karaoke is so fun, you guys. We make it really fun because you guys make it really fun.
Yes.
Yes.
My question is, I know you only did 2, if I remember right, episodes with Jeffrey Dean.
Yep.
So reuniting for the family episode, which we all loved. That was amazing. How did it feel?
So that was the second episode. The first episode was the pilot, and it was sort of like, hi, I'm Sam, hi, I'm Jeff. I haven't been on Grey's Anatomy yet, so I'm yet to be a household name. He was already really known, but I don't think Grey's Anatomy I don't think he'd appeared on, because Grey's Anatomy and Supernatural started the same year. Did you know that? Of course you knew that. I had only seen him twice in the 14 years. Once at a con, really briefly in England, and once at a convention. Oh, here. Okay, so that was briefly on stage, and then for a minute in New Jersey. So a couple times in passing. And then he showed up on the set, and it was like he'd been there all along. I was so excited. We were all so excited, and it was quite a feat, like organizing everything around the Walking Dead schedule and our shooting schedule, and I wasn't a problem. I was just available. I was just there. But he rolled in like in the last 2 days of filming, and he is gracious and charming, and I mean, he was injured during the last scene. And he was holding my hand, and I didn't see it happen. I didn't know what had happened. We were supposed to be crying, and suddenly they're like, dropped to the... First, Jeff squeezes my hand so hard, I'm like, okay. I don't, like, squeezes my fingers and just kind of leans forward, and then the two boys are rolling around on the ground. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening, because I'm like crying, I can't see, everyone's been crying. And then I see the marble bouncing, and I start to realize what happens. And then he finally lets go of my hand, and I'm like continuing to cry, but now laughing at the same time. We all have like snot everywhere. Like, it was very memorable. Anyway, so he survived, and then he's done, and then we have like one more scene to shoot where Misha comes in, and we're all like trying to like not cry anymore. And so he goes back to his trailer because he's wrapped, and he puts on his street clothes, and he comes back to set, and he's wrapped. He can go home. And he waited the rest of the day and hung out with us. He's like, I'm not ready to leave. I just want to stay. And that's what it felt like. I can speak for myself that it felt like it was such like something we didn't even know we'd been waiting for all of us to be on set together like a family. And I know I felt like you guys were waiting for that too. And it would have been nice if he could stay, but that's the wrong show. If you're like smiling at the end, wrong show. But it was fantastic. Like, it's a highlight of my career, that episode. So thank you.
Thank you.
Other question? Oh, hi.
Hi. So in When the Levee Breaks, Sam is hallucinating Mary when he's trying to detox from the demon blood.
Yeah.
Do you think that if Mary would have known the past mental health issues that Sam had, would their relationship have changed when she was brought back, and would she have been more like compassionate and caring?
Ow. I'm taking that to mean that you don't think Mary was compassionate and caring.
She was, but obviously, dealing with your own issues, there was just
Right.
A break in the connection between them.
Well, I mean, obviously I would like to say yes. However, I think Mary had some of her own stuff going on, mental health issues potentially, some PTSD for starters.
Yeah.
And I also think she had something, a little bit of a moment coming back to life after 30 years and, no husband, grown children,
Right.
completely changed world. And when Mary left in that beginning of season 12, took the journal and pieced out, I think it was so that she could be a full human, because she wasn't helping them. And I think that she was really struggling. So as far as being, I don't know how trite this sounds, but you can't help someone else if you're not helping yourself.
Right.
So she couldn't be there for him. I think that she did love him. He was a stranger to her. he was a 6-month-old infant when she died, so she doesn't know him at all. I think she did have some high expectations for them, but Mary was only alive for 2 years, right? 2.5 years. And they worked through a lot of stuff during that time. I would argue that Dean has more mental health issues than Sam.
I would agree.
Sam, as far as mental health issues, isn't it more like,
I think
did Sam have mental health issues?
I think it just wasn't expressed as much in certain aspects, but I
Okay.
mean, dealing with my own, I kind of can see it. So.
Sure. No, I mean, I know he had like some guilt and some like blood addiction and like, listen, the Winchesters do not have their shit together. Let's just be clear. But there's also a caveat that Mary grew up in the 70s and early 80s, right? Didn't she die in like 83 or 89 or some pre-90 thing? She's like, rub some dirt on it, you'll be fine. Like that was what they did back then. So I think that would have been a whole other learning curve for her. So I'd like to say yes, but I'm guessing probably no. She would have been like, that's terrible, suck it up. Have some meatloaf.
Capri Sun.
I think. She would have loved them just the same. But
It's hard to hear you. Sorry.
oh, she would have loved them just the same, but I'm not sure how equipped she would have been.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I don't think the Winchesters in general are the poster children for any sort of healthy relationships. Except they do love each other. What's the word? That's the one. Unconditionally. Hi there.
Hi,
What's your name?
Skylar.
Hi. Hi, Skylar.
Yeah.
I don't have my glasses on, so you're like a very cute, blurry image over there.
I wanted to know how you felt with like the ending of Supernatural and how like Sam and Dean died, because it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I was wondering about you.
Well, I have some thoughts on how Mary died. And, the series finale wasn't how it was meant to be because of COVID. The very end was going to be different. And as far as how they died, I don't think there ever was going to be a good way. Heroically, in their sleep, on their feet,
Bad tacos.
falling off a cliff. Like, there was never going to be a good end. It was always going to be sad. And in a way, dying like that, just like it was like a regular run-of-the-mill hunt, right? Like it was just some random vampires in the barn. Not like apocalypse, and it was kind of interesting that after all that they had been through and how many times they had died and come back to life and saved the world and fought demons and the devil and God and like all this monumental stuff, that he gets killed by accident on a fence post or a barn stake or whatever it was. Like, that's kind of was a little bit of the magic of Supernatural. You never saw it coming. You never saw what, even me reading the scripts, I'd be like, oh, I know where this is going. Like, oh, no, I don't. No, I don't. This went a completely different direction. I did not anticipate being blown to smithereens. They did warn me, but before they warned me, I did not anticipate that. So I love that Sam got to live a whole life. He's the only Winchester that did. But I would have preferred that they got to just keep living, both of them. So, thank you. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah? Okay. Oh. So if you can't hear the answer to your question, maybe you step back a little or you come stand right here. Ask your question, then run over here. I don't know, I think that's fair. Yes? I want you to be able to hear it. You're the one that asked the question. Hopefully it'll be on video somewhere and you can hear it. Hi.
Hi. I also had a question about the finale. We know, obviously, Mary's first death was fiery and unexpected, but we also know that she spent all of those years in heaven with John and little boy Dean and her little baby Sam. But now, after her second death, and she's in heaven that's been fixed, and we know that she's with John, but I'm wondering what you imagine the rest of that heaven looks like for Mary.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I won't make you stand right in front.
I'll try not to block anybody's view.
Well, you're perfect right where you are.
All right.
But your ears might get blown out from that speaker. Especially if I do that. Lordy. Well, her experience, so heaven was supposed to be like whatever you were happiest in, right? So her life experience changed dramatically between her first and second deaths. So I think she learned a lot about John and about herself and her life and her legacy in the short years she was back to life. So I think her heaven would look very different. It wouldn't be so idyllic and just like, do you think she ever wondered why Sam never grew up? Like he was just 6 months old forever. I think it would be a lot more real, a lot less Stepford, and a lot more, Cheers. Right? Her kids are old enough they can all drink bourbon together. I think it's that. I think it's like long drives and bourbon and not having to fight. I think. Yeah. Hi there.
Hi, my daughter's braver than me, so I had a quick question because you've been on the show since the pilot, which we love you. But then coming back, like throughout, obviously a couple different times, but then coming for season 12, like and being consistently on, was there a huge difference for you, or how did it feel?
There you go. It was weird. It was weird for everyone, I think. I think I remember Jensen in an interview being, and I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, she's just here all the time. And I think, I was on it so infrequently in the first 11 years. I mean, I wasn't on it at all between seasons 7 and 11, that they had, this imagination of me as the Mary that we all saw, like this canonized angel in a pink nightgown. Pink. I said pink. You heard me. We talked about that this morning. Like some people had big feelings about it not being white. That is pink. And I felt awkward and like I was stepping on toes and like, do they really want me here? And are the writers making them? And like all my own stuff, right? But the magic of it was, that's how Mary felt. And so as Mary was finding her footing, I was finding my footing, and I felt like I was chasing it a little bit. Mary was figuring it out a little bit faster than I was, but it was fine until I actually found my footing, and then everything was good, and then they sent me off to the AU. So, but it was a lot for me, like learning to fight, learning to do all the stuff I had to do, and when the boys weren't on set, if Misha wasn't there, like it was me and guest stars, and I'm like, they asked me questions, I'm like, I don't know, I'm new here too. But I had to assume that role a little bit, which was fun. I'm like, I guess I'm the boss lady today. But I loved every single day at work. I mean, getting to every time I got another episode, because I was only supposed to be back for 6. And I had a contract for 6 episodes, and like maybe some more of season 12, and it turned into 3 years. And so I never knew. And I actually said to Bob Singer, I was like, do you warn people? Or do you just kind of let them read that they die? in the script. He's like, no, I'm like, listen, you're gonna warn me. And they did. In season 14, I was sitting at the vet with my dog, having a checkup. The phone rang, and Brigitte, who ran the office, was like, oh, hi Sam, I have Bob Singer and Andrew Dabb for you. I'm like, oh, oh no. And they were like, listen, we want to talk to you about, the direction of the show and where we're taking Mary. And I'm like, is it death? It's death, isn't it? Is it death? And they're like, yeah. Yeah, it's death. I'm like, ugh. So, but I understood they needed some sort of catalyst for season 15, and I think that Mary had, in many ways, served her purpose. And I preferred, figuratively and literally, going out with a bang, than like lingering on, like staying at home vacuuming the bunker. Like it just wasn't helpful unless Mary had a spin-off, which I had a little hope for. Hunter lady, fighting crime, learning to cook. Huh? You would have, thank you. I mean, they didn't do Wayward, so they definitely weren't going to do Mary. But I had like, Mary could be on Wayward. Like, I had all these ideas. Nobody asked me, so it was, so to answer your question more, it was unexpected, completely outside my comfort zone, and a dream come true, all rolled into one. Thank you. Hi.
Hello.
Hi there.
So I was wondering, are you watching The Winchesters? And how do you like the young Mary?
You didn't have to say young twice.
Well, young Mary is Amy Goodman.
I watched the pilot. I have not been able to carry on with the series yet. Something happens when you know you can just watch it. You can stand right here?
I actually see it right there.
Oh, well, that works then, it doesn't.
Yeah.
She's great. They did a great job with the casting, I think. People seem to really like it. I think that, they worked really hard on it. The pilot was great. I'm finding it very interesting, or I found when I was watching the pilot, how they sort of did like the retcon, like how they changed the perception of what we knew to be true to not be wrong, but different in some cases. And I hope that, do we know if it's picked up for a second season?
So far, just 13 episodes.
We know, so it's just 13 for now? Well, I hope it keeps going. And she's great. I think she has the spirit of Mary. I knew that they knew what they were doing. Where are you going? I can see you. I can still see you. That's okay. I'll be here tomorrow. I knew when they cast Amy Gumanik, they knew what they were doing. Because I watched the episode. Well, first I was all bent. I was like, they recast me? Are you kidding me? I was like, oh, she's supposed to be 18. Okay. I mean, I wasn't 28 or 29 when I played Mary the first time, and this was 4 years later. We could have a whole side panel about coming back to play Mary at 28, 12 years later. Where I immediately cut bangs and made them buy me a circle light. Serge is like, well, we don't need it. I'm like, listen, you've been lighting these two boys who you could shoot in the dark and they would look good. I need a bounce card and a circle light and no overhead light and nothing from the side. And they're like, oh no. It's been all boys for all this time. They don't know anything about lighting. This girl comes in and she's like, listen, you're gonna use this filter and this is the light. They didn't do it all the time, but they were like, just make it stop. And then Jensen's like, I don't get a bounce card. I'm like, listen, you don't need one, shut the fuck up. It's very cute that you're trying to be sympathetic, but it's just patronizing at this point. It's unfair, honestly. Like we're outside in dusk and sun is going down, it's that gray light, and no one looks alive in that light. And they both look great. And they turn the camera on me and I'm like, no, I don't need coverage, I'm fine. Can I Can I have sunglasses? Can I? I forget what I was talking about. Hey, that's like the first time that's happened today. Have I answered most of the questions? It's a miracle. Anyway, happy Thursday. Are there any more questions? Are we over here? Hi.
Hi, my name is Brooke. I'm
Hi,
a local
Brooke.
here. Hello. First, I just wanted to say that I love Mary Winchester. That's not always popular, but
Thank
I
you.
think she was a badass.
Popular with me.
Yes. So I also think she's very similar to Dean. So if you don't like Mary, you might not like Dean either, you know, personally. So
I have some thoughts on that.
ooh. Well, actually, that was one of the questions I was going to ask is, do you think that Mary and Dean shared a lot of similarities? And do you want to share your thoughts?
Sure. I think they're carbon copies of each other. I think that Mary has some of Sam. Sam has some of Mary's qualities, but for the most part, I think Dean is just like Mary. And if so much do I believe that I was really studying Jensen the first couple episodes I was back, and I think he thought I was just staring at him all the time. I'm like, listen, I'm trying to copy you. How do you cross your arms? Where do you put your feet? How do you move your head like that? I was trying to copy some things because those are genetic things that you can learn by watching, but also I'll see my dad, my real life dad, do things sometimes. I'm like, oh, even stacking dishes the same way. It's just my brain works like his. And I think I was trying to, so much that there's an episode where, the second episode, we were going to go try to rescue Sam where they're burning his feet. And Dean is trying to tell Mary she can't come. And she's like, listen, kid, I'm coming, zip it. And he's like, and I'm like, good talk. And I walked away, and good talk was not in the script, but I just was like, I'm gonna say this. Not realizing that subconsciously I must have picked up on the fact that he says that, because as soon as they said cut, everyone started laughing, and I was like, what'd I do? I thought they were laughing at me, because that's where my brain goes. Then I'm like, wasn't that funny? And he's like, oh, you really are copying me. I'm like, what? Do you say that? And then they just laughed more. And so, and then they left it in, because that's what it was. So I think they're exactly alike. And here's my thought. I think people were fine-ish with Mary when she came back. They were probably a little hesitant, what, she gonna be the bunker mom now? Is she gonna make cookies and make their beds and do laundry? What's gonna happen? Because I thought the same thing. And then they're like, we're gonna give you fight training. I'm like, what? And then I was like, awesome. That's a whole other journey. They sent a Krav Maga trainer to my house. It went very badly. I had to have a very, very good stunt person for a very long time. The things overall that Mary did that people don't like taking off in that third episode with the journal and piecing out to go try to get her shit together. Working with the British Men of Letters because she thought it was for the greater good and the right thing to do for her boys. Knew they wouldn't like it, so she didn't tell them. That episode when she went and stole the colds from what she didn't know was a prince of hell. She just thought it was a regular run-of-the-mill demon. Not the greatest move, but intentions were good. This is stuff that those boys did every episode. For 15 years. But it's not okay when Mary did it. I'm like, where the hell do you think they learned it? DNA, it's her behavior it's a hero thing. I got this, I'll save everyone else. And it hurt their feelings, so they're mad at her. I'm like, well, okay. But here's my sort of catchphrase about it all. Moms don't do what's popular, they do what's right in their mind. And she thought protecting her boys in the way that she knew how was the right thing to do. And they didn't like it, and that's the way it goes. They're not her friend, they're her children. So she gets a pass in my book. I think she did great. We just do the best we can, especially as parents, right? Parents and hunters, doing the best we can. Thank you, wherever you went.
Hi. Hi again.
Hi again.
It's a little easier question this time. So in Nashville, you were asked about book recommendations, and you gave The Devil in the White City. I was just wondering if you had any more book recommendations, because I'm always looking for good books.
I'm reading a book right now by the same author called The Splendid and the Vile. It's not quite like Devil in the White City was a little more of a narrative version, a lot more of a narrative version, more like a historical fiction. The Splendid and the Vile is narrative, but it's definitely nonfiction, and it's about Churchill leading up to his becoming a prime minister and through the beginning of World War II, and it's fascinating. It's not told dryly like a history book, but Churchill was bananas. Holy moly. He was such an eccentric guy, and I mean, I think that they're hitting the highlights and kind of skipping over some of the other stuff that maybe wasn't so great about him. I just love the fact that he walked around in like a silk dressing gown. Like, that is amazing to me. And took baths like 3 times a day, and that's where he made his secretary come sit in the bathroom typing while he's like smoking in the bathtub. Bananas. But, so that. I don't think I recommended this last time. It's actually a YA novel series. And it's one of the few books. I've read A Prayer for Owen Meany twice. I've read I, Claudius twice. I've read Pillars of the Earth twice. And these are the only, everything else I've read once. Except for this series I've read twice, and it's 3 books. It's called Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. It is amazing. And it's supposed to be a YA book, and I had to read it with a dictionary next to me because her vocabulary is so specific. Like, for a little piece of architectural corner or a special kind of tooth, or like, she has a vast knowledge. This whole book is about angels and chimera, and I loved it. Some people have already read it, it sounds like. It's 3 books, Daughter of Smoke and Bone, and then I can't remember what You Will Be Enthralled. What's the other one? What is the book? It's not Ken Follett, I don't think, but it's about the Arthurian legends, the big fat book told from the perspective of Miss of Babylon. Thank you, by Morgan Le Fay. That's the other one. And that's a commitment because it's like this big. Have you read that one? You'll like that one too.
I just finished reading the second book in The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, okay.
And now I'm reading Moving on Vacation. It's different than like all of the romantic comedy part.
Right.
I haven't read like romantic comedy.
Well, mine are both like fantasy sci-fi. That's my favorite. You're welcome. There'll be a test next time. Prepare for a quiz. Hi. Oh, there's nobody there. We need hold music. Oh no, do I have to come up with something to say?
Yeah, she's coming.
You can just come up here if you want. She said no. Hi, love.
Hi. If you still have cable or, TV thing, is there any movie, like a stupid movie, not even meaning like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars or anything, that if you see it when you're scrolling through the channels, you're like, well, I guess I'm watching this for the rest of the afternoon?
Oh God, so many. 16 Candles. 16 Candles. Huh? Jake Ryan.
Breakfast Club.
Yeah, 16 Candles just was my one when I was, but you know what I've been craving to watch recently, and I want to watch it with my kid. I'm a little afraid because I'm afraid it won't hold up, but I was on the phone with the gas company, and they came and picked up the smaller propane tank after they brought us a bigger one, and I was going to get a refund, and it was going to be like $16 or something. It wasn't going to be, but I called them. I said, hey, you picked up the tank. I just want to make sure you credit me. I'm like, I want my $2. And she's like, oh my God, I love that movie. And I was like, and I love you for knowing what I'm talking about. I want to watch Better Off Dead because it's just so wrong, but so, like, and the fact that we know Curtis now, who's like, I can't move my right arm. And the French bread, like the whole thing. So it's those kind of movies, my teenage nostalgia movies that are just, you watch them now and half the stuff they say, you're like, well, you can't say that. That's terrible. I can't believe that we thought that was funny. Has anyone tried to watch Peanuts in the last 5 years? Or 10? We tried to show that to my son when he was a kid, and we were like, turn it off. Like, you're stupid, blockhead. No, the parents sound like, like, oh my God. It's awful. It's awful. So not Peanuts.
I feel like you've got one more question over there.
It's actually beautiful timing since the band's out here. I know that Mary would sing Dean Hey Jude as his lullaby, and I was hoping you would sing a little part of that today for us.
Go ahead, Jason.
That question was for you.
But I'm not a singer. Oh my God, I'm not a singer.
Just start saying na 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 na.
I will sing if you sing with me. And I know 30% of the words.
Hey Jude, don't make it sad. Take a sad song and make it better. The nimble to settle into your heart. Then you can start to make it better.
Great job. Please give it up for Sam Smith, everybody. Well, that's it, guys. That's it. That's the end of the first day. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We had a great time. We'll see you guys tomorrow. If only there was something to do in this town between now and tomorrow morning. We'll work on it. But y'all have fun. We'll see you soon.